Hello, thank you for connecting to this particular seminar. My name is Marco Achukwujide. I have actually guided a good number of students on how to secure scholarship for postgraduate studies outside the country. And based on my experience, I decided to design this seminar because there are a lot of things some undergraduates need to know so that by the time you get ready for that kind of opportunity, you would have been well prepared. And that is why I'm here to present this to you, securing postgraduate assistantship. We have scholarship, we have assistantship. All right, so I decided to treat this uncommon area that has a lot of advantages, okay? So I'll be treating in the next few minutes how to secure postgraduate assistantship, especially in UK and Canada. What undergraduates and of course recent graduates should know. Okay? By the way, what people know a lot is scholarship. Now there's something we call assistantship. Assistantship is a position where you are attached to work with somebody, a scholar, a professor in most cases, and you provide assistance to that professor, and that assistantship you provide gives you a stipend which is well enough to take care of your living expenses. All right, and in most cases this kind of postgraduate assistantship comes like in form of teaching assistant or research assistant. Okay, so these are available opportunities for those who want to do postgraduate study outside the country. Now, when you are engaged as an assistant attached to a scholar, whether it's a professor or someone who has a chair, that person who has engaged you, in most cases, you will be doing a program, for instance, your master's or PhD in that university. And that assistantship comes with such stipends, call it salary, call it allowance, that is enough for your living expenses and to pay your school fees. And sometimes it comes with a lot of waivers in terms of tuition. All right, so securing any form of postgraduate assistantship, whether it's teaching assistant or research assistant in UK or in Canada, you need to prepare very, very well. During your undergraduate, you should be able to build a very strong academic record. You should have developed the necessary soft skills, and you'll be proactive in the search for such opportunity. You may want to consider attending physical or online career fairs or network events where you are able to connect with universities or faculty members of such universities. In the next few minutes, I will be presenting a more detailed discussion on this area. So go with me as I treat the first one, the issue of maintaining excellent academic record and the necessary skills you need to succeed. Of course, if you desire to become an assistant to a scholar, the scholar will want to be sure you actually did well in your academic performance. And that is why it's important to maintain a good CGPA, cumulative grade point average, in all the courses you are offering during your undergraduate. And that is why I decided to start at this point. Many persons who have got their certificate, their degree certificate, and they are seeking for this opportunity and never thought about it, and probably were careless during the undergraduate days, perhaps came out with results below what they would have come out with if they had kept an eye on this kind of opportunity. And that is why I decided to treat this, what undergraduates need to know. So if you are an undergraduate listening to this seminar, I encourage you to strive as much as righteousness and holiness will permit you to do your very, very best in your academic performance. Every course matters. strive for maximum points in all your courses. And then you will be required to demonstrate consistent track record in your academic achievement. So from your first year to your final year, someone should be able to look at your result and say, yes, this person has a track record of doing well. All right. If you take so carelessly your first year result and second year, and you come towards your final year and you present an excellent result, someone may begin to doubt your ability to sustain that result. It could be suspected that something led to what looks like an excellent result when you are in your penultimate year or your final year. So please, right from day one, you are in year one of your program in the university, begin to put in your very, very best if you desire to become a global scholar someday. All right, and then those of you who are in final year, or by the time you are getting to final year, do not just do a project research because every other student is doing it. If you are able to define your career direction from the beginning, your project research should be pointing towards that your career direction. And if you have done a very good work, you may need to work with your supervisor to see that that project is published as a journal article. When you see such adverts and they say research scale is an advantage, they actually say that if you have published a paper, it is a plus for you. Otherwise, any other graduate can claim to have research skill. Then talking about relevant skills here, you need to develop all the relevant skills you need depending on the type of assistantship you are targeting. If you are targeting both, like teaching and research, then you try to be as versatile as possible. Otherwise, if you are focusing on teaching assistant is actually where a professor is assigned a course and the professor looks for a graduate assistant who will be working with him, and he could assign you some topic to treat with the student, or maybe when this professor has introduced the course, he can engage you to provide tutorial, detailed discussion with the students. Okay, so if you're in the university and you have the skill of teaching, strengthen it. Arrange to teach your fellow students. Arrange to teach those below you as much as time will permit you, because you don't do it at the detriment of your own performance. All right, and then you are interested in research assistant, build that research skill as much as you can. If there are analytical tools needed in your area of interest, try to master those analytical tools. Soft skills are also very, very important, including things like resilience, your ability to withstand challenges. All right, and then your communication skill should be strengthened in terms of written, speaking, and then listening skill, writing skill. All right, and then your critical thinking skill is very, very important. If a subject is presented, your ability to look at that subject from different perspectives makes you a scholar. This is something you need to build if you're interested in securing such kind of opportunity. You also need to build your leadership skill. The opportunities in your classroom for leadership, in the association of your department, in the student union for leadership, or even the faith-based organization where you belong to, and there are leadership opportunities there. Do not shy away from such. Step into it and demonstrate and strengthen your leadership skill, including your administrative skill and organizational skill, of course. Then in terms of ICT skill, it's important that you build the necessary ICT skill. The least that could be expected from you is that you should be able to know how to use Excel, whether you are studying English or you're studying any other language or a complicated technical course. All right, be sure you know how to use Excel, Microsoft Excel, or related software. And then Word document, you should be able to edit Word document considering the track changes. By the way, in the link to this video, I provided a training I did for beginners in Excel. In case you don't know about Excel so much, you can check the link and see that training I did for beginners in Excel, so that you get the basics from where you can grow that skill. or you don't know how to do track changes using Word document. I also did a training on that. Check the link here. You will see that training. Click on it and master these skills. These are things that will stand you out among your equal. English language proficiency is also very, very important. If you are not a native English speaker, like many of us, please be deliberate to develop or improve your skills in English communication. And if need be, you may consider writing proficiency tests like TOEFL and all of that to demonstrate further that you actually can speak very well. Alright? Some institutions may not require that, and they may just need a letter from your university where you graduated from, attestation letter testifying that you were trained in English language. So when you're obtaining your transcripts, try to also get such letter from your university that you were trained in English. That could be a plus, and that could be enough for some universities to consider you for such opportunity. All right. Now the next thing I wish to discuss with you is research, the need for you to research and ensure you do the necessary application. All right. Now, in terms of research, I want to start by saying that right from your undergraduate days, or you just graduated, you may need to search to identify the universities of interest, the universities that are offering the course you want to do. All right, let me explain this assistantship further. Many of our university lecturers in advanced countries like UK, like Canada, many of those professors are actually running what we call grants. Some donors are giving them money, all right, to do certain things for them. Okay, and sometimes such fund comes with a clause, capacity building, that professor should be able to build capacity while doing that research. Okay, so the lecturer will be looking for someone who just graduated, who will want to train in their school while assisting him or her. Alright, so you could assist the lecturer in carrying out the basic things like literature review and all of that, or grading students' examination or test. Okay, and then that lecturer is paying you from the grant he or she has gotten for that research. Okay, so that at the end of the day, you succeeded in completing your master's or PhD. The supervisor, the lecturer, will report your success as part of deliverable in the grant he got for that research. Okay, so you need to be watching out for universities that is of interest. You may want to check their website. One of my students who got this kind of assistantship in Canada, I had to engage him to do a webinar, sharing his experience and how he succeeded. That webinar is actually on this YouTube. The link is also provided in the description of this video or on the comment box. Check it and you see his discussion. All right, so you need to find out the university of interest. And can I tell you, many of the universities who have research assistant opportunity, of course my student mentioned it in his webinar, do not publish it in many other platforms. They publish it basically on the university website. So you need to identify that university, identify your department of interest. Watch out for staff in that university. If possible, you link up with them. Maybe I will still talk about that. May you watch out for staff in that university. Okay? And then if there are career opportunities there, visit it as often as possible. If they have such opportunity, they will drop it on that link. If you click on it and you meet the requirement, quickly submit your application. Okay? And that is why it's important you check out the university website. And as you do that, you'll be watching out for assistantship opportunities. Even if you're an undergraduate now, it's not too early for you to start searching for such opportunities. As an undergraduate, you can begin to look out for such opportunities, and when you see it, you read to ascertain the requirements, what they are watching out for in the ideal candidate. That will help you begin to prepare yourself for when you have graduated and qualify for it. And so if there are things they need, you would have added those things in your profile. So look out for such opportunities and follow up on them. If the university have a LinkedIn page, you can join them so that you can be getting updates from them. Then search out, like I mentioned, for professors whose research is in line with your area of research interest. And that is why I'm saying that this thing undergraduate need to know it. Because at the level of undergraduate, if you have already identified a professor, for instance, who is working on climate change, and you desire to work under that professor, you may be an economist, you may be studying an engineering course, you may be studying a bio course, and you decided to channel your area towards climate change. And so when you begin to watch out for such opportunity, it gives you an advantage. And if you have published a paper in that direction, it becomes a huge plus for you. Okay, so search out for such professors whose research area of interest agree with yours. You can also go ahead to make inquiry, connect with them. You can send a mail to them. You can read up their research work. And then if you have any feedback or a question, send that as a question. Sir, I saw you this and so. This is interesting. I'm wondering if this could have been done this way. What do you think will be engage the person in a very professional manner. And if you're able to create that relationship early enough, and the person knows that, look, you're still undergraduate, he or she could follow up on you until you graduate and may tell you, I would like to work with you when you finish. In that case, it becomes a smooth ride for you to translate to joining them as a research assistant or a teaching assistant. All right. If you search for the person on LinkedIn, you may want to connect with them. If you don't have LinkedIn account, I advise that you create it. It's for professionals. All right. And then you need to also begin to compile as early as possible all your application materials. Design a very good CV. I had discussed how to design a winning CV in one of my videos. The link is also provided here. How to design a winning CV that you submit and somebody wouldn't want to drop it on the person puts a call or sends a text message to you. Try to also get your transcripts. If possible, get the student copy so that you may need to apply for several opportunities. You can use the student copy. When the school has now given you admission and you're about to resume, you may now be required to send an official one to that university. You also will need letter of recommendation. So as a student, try to build and maintain good and professional relationship with your lecturers, especially your project supervisor, where possible. And then if you don't maintain with a lot of them, maintain with some who will proactively respond to your request for letters. All right. And then I also want to mention that it's important to design what I call generic statement of purpose. If you are not already applying, you design generic statement of purpose so that when you are about to apply for any opportunity, you now tailor it down, you modify it accordingly to fit that particular opportunity. And there is another thing we call a cover letter or forwarding letter. You may design a generic one, but when you want to submit any application, you now tailor it down to reflect your skills needed for that position, your experience required for that position, your suitability. All right, a lot of prospective hosts or employers in this regard may not have all the time to go beyond your cover letter. They'll just scan through it and see whether it's of interest. If it's of interest, they may go further to read your statement of purpose or to scan through your CV. So your cover letter or forward letter should be prepared in a way that someone may not take a lot of time doing that, but it gives all the information that will showcase you as the most suitable candidate for that position. You need to realize that such opportunity is an international competition. People could apply from all over the world. So you are competing with students from across the nations of the world. All right, or graduates that way. Now, networking and building relationship is very, very important. A lot of universities, they do what they call career fairs. All right. If they don't do it physical, they do it online. So if you watch out for such opportunities, if they are doing such kind of thing, attend such a career fair. Participate. If it's online, better for you. Connect with them. Hear them out. ask reasonable questions that will make you be noted as somebody to keep an eye on. All right. And then I have mentioned the need to search out for those professors in the universities of interest and try to connecting with them and building relationship that could mature into assistantship. Then it's also important that you join relevant organizations. All right, your professional body, for instance, you're an economist and they have a professional body, it's important you identify with them. If you do any activity with them and they give you certificates that you belong to that organization, is a huge plus for you. So connect with necessary professional organization that could enhance your opportunities. Okay. Now the fourth thing I need to mention to you, which for me is where I'm going to conclude this discussion, is that it's important you also watch out for funding opportunities. As a lot of assistantship actually come with stipends and tuition waivers. So watch out for such opportunities on universities of interest. If you are not qualified and you see any, try to ascertain what they need actually. All right, if you know what they need, you keep it in mind and keep preparing yourself towards that. Of course, you will be required to meet the visa requirements. And so it is important, even if you're a student, to visit the website of these countries to find out what they require from students who are coming to study there, or what they need, for workers who are traveling to the country. And you begin to prepare yourself to qualify for such requirements. All right, most international students, you just need to make sure you meet this requirement for visa, either to study or to work. And you may need to know that if you are invited, for assistantship, though you'll be doing your master's or PhD, you actually come in as a worker there. All right, and it's a huge plus for you if that happens, because your chances of retaining or remaining there to work becomes a huge plus. On that note, I want to say a very big thank you for spending this time with me on this channel. I want to encourage that if indeed you follow these steps, whether you are still undergraduate and you begin to prepare yourself early enough, it becomes easier for you to fit in. But if you have just graduated, all right, and you are getting to know this, please take time and prepare yourself. If you prepare and you begin to apply, your chances of securing assistantship in Canada or UK or elsewhere will be enhanced. But if you keep doing fire brigade kind of submission, you just see opportunity, you quickly rush into it, you may be receiving this kind of love letter saying, we regret to inform you that you were not successful. But I pray and I wish that you will soon share your success story. If you want to do that, make out time to prepare for it. If you do, we will soon receive from you success story. And that your success story, guess what, will inspire a lot of people. So do not give up. Keep pushing. I wish you the very, very best. Thank you and God bless. Cheers.